What's going on, you guys? Foster, and I'm back with another video. In today's video, I'll be talking about something that people have requested a lot, and that is jungle pathing. This goes hand in hand with counter jungling as well a little bit, since I'm gonna just go into that a little bit as well. It is a lot of variables for this, and I'm gonna try my best to explain it the best way I can. And I feel like showing you guys this way is gonna be the best way of me actually doing it, so yeah. If something isn't clear, you can always leave a comment below, and then I'll try to help you out with your question or like any remarks you might have or something like that. If you like this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up below, and of course subscribe for more. Now let's get right into it. There are three types of ways of pathing your jungle for a lot of different types of champions. So there is the fast jungle clear, the semi-fast jungle, like the semi-full clear and the full clear. The full clear probably speaks for itself, but let's just save that one for last. First off, you have the fast clear, and this is the clear that you want to do if you want to put out a lot of pressure in the early game. This is going to be if you're like a Lee Sin or a Lee, or like an early game champion that really wants to get that pressure out. And this will be on either side of the map doing the buff camp, the blue, the wolves, like both buff camp, the blue and the wolves. That's pretty much the fast clear. This will let you level 3 whilst at the same time giving you double buff, which then means that the enemy can't take like your buff camp, your other buff camp if you were to gank like top lane, because doing these 3 camps will also net you level 3, but then you won't have your red buff. So if you were to gank like top lane with that, you're guaranteed to lose your own red buff, because the enemy jungler will notice, will see this, and then he will obviously go to your red buff. So the optimal clear of doing the fast type is just doing these 3 camps and then ganking a lane, so you won't lose any of your buff camps. You might lose one of your other camps, but that is then the risk you're gonna have to take. Usually this risk will pay off, because if you're like a Lee Sin or a Elise that will do these types of clears, then you're most likely gonna put the enemy top laner or mid laner behind, or maybe the enemy jungler behind, because this clear also counters the full clear. Anyway, going on to the next clear, countering will be like by the end of this video. Going on to the next clear, so I'm gonna put the fast clear in the bottom here. That's the fast clear, and then I'm gonna put the semi-full clear here. Semi-full clear, you most of the time will want to start with your blue buff, because most champions will like the extra mana you get from your blue buff. But you can also do it by starting with red buff. It doesn't really matter, because the camp you are skipping is the Croc camp. So either way, like the pathing doesn't change. You can go here, here, there, and then that can give you level 4 and that can give you level 4. But on this side of the map, it's going to be blue into Gromp, into wolves, into Wraves, into red buff, which gives you like maybe, like, God knows, very close to level 4, let me put it that way. So the experience from Scuttlecrab will be enough to give you level 4, and this way you won't have to do your Crab camp, which on certain champions can take you fucking years. So yeah, you don't want to be doing that. So that's the semi-full clear, and then obviously we have the full clear, which is pretty straightforward. But the thing with the full clear is it will always start at the blue buff, because if you don't start the full clear at the blue buff, you're gonna actually lose a lot of time, and that's not worth it. But champions that go for full clears usually want blue buff anyway. Think of Hecarim, Olaf, Diana, all that type of stuff. Then you just start blue buff and you literally just full clear. Like, it's very straightforward. You just do all the camps going from blue to Gromp to wolves, and then just path it, so you don't have to walk like, if you were to walk like from the blue to wolves and then do Gromp and then do Wraves and then do Crocs and then red, you're gonna lose a lot of time by just walking around randomly, which is not efficient. So you just go simply from camp to camp to camp to camp, straight when you walk past it. That's the full clear. Like, it's very straightforward. The thing is, the full clear gets countered by the fast clear. So let's say this right here, your Hecarim, and you're here, your Lee Sin. So Hecarim always wants to full clear, since that is pretty much what he wants to just scale up. He wants to get as much farm as possible, to get as far ahead as possible on the experience and gold wide. That's just what you want on Hecarim. So Hecarim's gonna do this. I'm just gonna circle what Hecarim. This is what Hecarim is gonna do on the top side most of the time. Now, if you play Lee Sin into Hecarim, you can then decide to go for the fast clear, or like the semi-full clear if you want. But usually the fast clear is smarter for this, and you can do red, wolves, blue, and then walk upwards here, and then either gank top lane here, or walk like that and go to his red buff and then take his red buff from him. Because if you do this as Lee Sin, you walk towards his red buff, you have free reign to take it. Hecarim cannot do jack shit against you. Most junglers that go for a full clear early will not be able to do anything against a Lee Sin that does this type of play. So to count, like, this is something the fast clear will counter in the full clear. Now, if the full clear jungler is smart, he can then counter the fast clear's counter by skipping his entire topside, so forgetting about this for a while, doing these 3 camps, and then walking towards his Wraith camp, since, as you can see, the fast clear here will be red, wolves, blue. Means raptors and crocs are still up. So you can just do these 3 camps, go to raptors, go to crocs, pick that up. That means you're gonna take 2 camps from him, whilst usually he'll only take his red buff from you. So countering in this aspect will mean that the Hecarim takes 2 extra camps here, and he trades 2 camps for just his red buff. Which, I mean, sure, it's a red buff, but it's more important to get the early lead against like a Lee Sin that is more early game heavy than having your red buff on Hecarim, because Hecarim is more of a cleanup ganker anyway, and yeah, I can ramble on about that, but that's not what I want to do in this video. So yeah, this is one of the clears, and then as soon as you do clear this, you can just stand in this brush like here, and then recall, and then go from here to your Crux, because your Crux will, 99% of the time, they will be up, and then you walk here, you see that your red buff is gone, and then you walk to your Raptors, and they could be gone, but they'll most likely be up at the same time, because Lee Sin is not going to expect you to be at his Raptors and his Crux unless it's warded. And if it's warded, you're dead. So, yeah. That's a way to counter that clear. And the semi-full clear, it really doesn't have any counters. That's why this is usually the best clear to go for on most junglers. Yeah, but like for certain matchups, like the Lee Sin and Hecarim matchup, an early game matchup into a full clear matchup, the early game champion always wants to do the three camp clear and then invade and then put pressure on like either side, and that's how they want to play it. So you can always assume that that's going to happen with this, and they will most likely, if they start on red buff, they will most likely leave these 2 camps here. They leave them up. So if you're the full clearer and starting on the blue on this side, you can always do this path and then go back and then do that into this. Always going to put you ahead. It's going to work 99 times out of 100. So yeah. Now, for the semi-full clear then, the semi-full clear will be this, and then the scuttle on either side. So, the reason this is pretty much the best jungle clear to go for on, like, most junglers in most games, if you're not a full clear jungler, if you're not, like, a forced to be full clear jungler, so Hecarim is pretty much forced to full clear, same goes for Olaf and same goes for Diana, because they just have the skill. So, if you're not forced to be a full clear jungler, you can also do this type of pathing on Lee Sin. Now, if you're doing this pathing on Lee Sin right here, you want to not go for the red buff into Wraith camp. If you're doing that on Lee Sin, you're making a mistake. Because the Raptor camp is going to fuck you up. Like, straight up. Like, if you're level 2 with just your red buff as Lee Sin, then doing this camp is really going to slow you down. And it's not worth it. So that's why I can tell you guys now that if you're playing this type of style, you can always get away with getting these 2 camps if you're against like a Lee Sin. And he's one of the most played junglers because people enjoy him. So you're probably going to get away with it. A thing you do have to be careful for though is that if the... where he starts. So if the Lee Sin starts on his blue buff and clears down, and you're doing that, like the this shit, and he sees you here, you're dead. So you really have to pay attention to where he starts in order for this to work. So yeah. Now the semi-full clear really, apart from like having to skip this, if you're like certain champions, you have to skip this. So apart from that, there's really no counter to this clear. Since if you are fast clearing, let's say you're Lee Sin, you're like Lee Sin bolt side here, and then you're Lee Sin against... What jungler is played often these days? Fuck knows. Like, you're playing Lee Sin against the Kha'Zix, right? Okay, Kha'Zix on this side, Lee Sin on this side. Lee Sin is gonna go for maybe a fast clear against the Kha'Zix because he wants to try to put some early pressure on the Kha'Zix, since that's where he can really win it. As soon as Kha'Zix hit level 6, it's gonna be kind of awkward because Kha'Zix has a lot of burst damage. So let's just take this matchup. Now, Kha'Zix is gonna go for a semi-full clear, Lee Sin is gonna go for a fast clear. Now, I'm gonna show you guys why this clear doesn't really get countered by this type of clear, and it also doesn't get countered by the full clear for obvious reasons, because the full clear doesn't invade anything. The semi-full clear, he gets this, and hits level 3, right? So this is pretty quick, especially on Kha'Zix. So this is isolation damage, this is isolation damage. And then this is overall a pretty quick clear with like your Q and your W. You kill the small ones first, kill the big one after. And you're clear, you're good. So this clear is gonna take you probably as long as it's gonna take Lee Sin to do this. Maybe this is gonna be a little bit quicker than this. But overall it should be pretty similar. And then you'll hit the red buff at pretty much the exact same time. Like the Kha'Zix will most likely be there a little bit sooner, but Lee Sin can be there quite quick after. Now, the thing with the semi-clear here is Kha'Zix can decide to do the Wraith Camp before doing the red buff. If he then decides to ward the red buff and Lee Sin starts the red buff, you can then call from your top laner and mid laner to roam into Lee Sin, and then Lee Sin dies. Because he has no way to escape. That's why if you delay it a little bit and Lee Sin goes for the actual invade and sees that your red buff is up and starts it, you can then get to doing that. So this clear doesn't get countered by that. But you can also, if you think you're strong enough, which Kha'Zix against Lee Sin can be strong enough if you play it smart and if you can actually get the jump on him. Especially if he were to use or miss his Q. Like the Lee Sin misses his Q, not the Kha'Zix, because, well, Kha'Zix is not going to miss his Q. But yeah, let's just say that that what I said right here. Lee Sin does this and goes to your red buff. You did this and then run up here. You're pretty much going to cross here. The both of you, you're going to have like a quick brawl. You can again call for your top and mid laner to just sweep in and cut Lee Sin off, which at this point put Lee Sin in a terrible position. So instead of being like a weak-ass early game jungler, you have the potential to go and fight him. Now, if Lee Sin decides to do a full clear and then gank top afterwards, like wait, that's a bit of a... If he decides to do like this, and you did the more slow clear and going like this, and you did your Raptor camp, and then maybe your red buff, and like he's most likely gonna be waiting around in these types of, like maybe in these brushes here for like a little bit of time, and this time you were clearing this, you're gonna pretty much be level 4 to counter gank the Lee Sin. So overall, this jungle clear will be way more beneficial than anything else. That's pretty much jungle pathing explained the best way I can. I hope this is clear to you guys, because it is a really big concept, and like I can talk about this for hours upon hours, because there are so many variables and so many things that this is just a hard video to make, but it was requested a lot, so that's why I tried to explain it the best I could, and like counter jungling shit the ways the best I could, just so... Yeah, it is hard to explain this to people. It really comes with experience, and the more you do it, the more you'll see the patterns of the junglers that can actually like go between fast clearing, semi-full clearing, and actually full clearing, and you'll know what to do against those champions. Most of it comes with experience, so I hope this helped, and if it did, make sure to hit the like button below. Also, if you want to see more videos from me in the future, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!